Good evening from our fourth night at sea. We're actually settling into night number 4. The first 3 nights were a little interesting. Last night was definitely interesting. Kelly ended up having the first sleep, and I was on first shift, and that went from about 9 to midnight. And right at midnight, we had this crazy wind that came in from a little squall that was over on our port side. And the squall was kind of sneaking up from behind us into port and sliding across the top of us. And right before it got to us, the winds kicked up to about 23, 24 knots and almost came right on the beam, and we were just flying. I don't think the speed indicator went down below 8 knots the entire time. We were just hammering down. And so I let Kelly sleep for a little while. She got up about 12:30. And then at that point, since that squall was kind of coming our way and I had a feeling we were gonna end up getting hit by it, I stayed up and just kind of hung out. That was the first time we actually had a true rain at night, and it came through and it was like, I don't know, 15 minutes of rain, and then that was it. It moved on. But right after it slipped over top of us and we had the same winds again on the backside of it that just kicked up real strong. And we sailed strong all night long until this morning when things just kind of died out. And so now we are without sails, and we've got our engine running, and we are about a day away from landfall. Actually, probably about 18 hours away from landfall, which I'm really excited about. We're getting a little bit of current pushing against us right now as we're going south, so it's slowing us down a little bit. I'm hoping once we get blanketed by the Bahamas a little bit, we'll be able to kind of slide in a little bit faster, because our speed's a little down right now. But this evening is gorgeous. Today was the first true blue sky day that we've had. There's just these little pockets of clouds as they're moving across the sky. And the sunset over here is just spectacular. Water is blue, sapphire blue, just beautiful. Found a flying fish over on the side of the deck. You probably already saw that. That was hanging out over there. That was a little gross. That was the first one. I have seen a lot of them, but none of them hit the boat. That was the first one that hit the boat. So. Everything's coated in salt, and I'm ready to clean it all off, but otherwise, it's been a fun passage. Going into night number 4, how would you rate the passage?
I don't like it. This might be like the best type of, I don't know, sea conditions you could ever have if you also want wind. But I've been really seasick since like the first 30 minutes. And as George says, we're on day 4. I feel like a sick child with all my soups and my crackers and my Gatorades. And for the most part, I've just been drinking Gatorade for sustenance. It has some calories in it. I don't know, I couldn't keep anything down. So it's pretty. Sometimes it's pretty when I can look away from my one spot on the horizon. But
stars last night were really nice too.
Yes, the Milky Way was beautiful. There's lots of good stuff. It's just hard to focus on the good stuff when you're so seasick that you can't talk. Which George could totally, I don't know, not agree with that, but I've made him talk so much more because I'm like, I can't talk. Talking makes me more sick. So I know you're the quiet one, but it's your job to keep this conversation going. The conversation being, you're talking to me and I'm just listening.
The other challenge is that we both have had patches on, those scopolamine patches, which have helped with the seasickness, but it makes everything taste terrible and dries out your mouth, really dehydrates you. It's not a good experience, in all honesty.
It doesn't help with seasickness.
I had a little bit of queasiness the first day, so she said go ahead and put one on just for precautionary measures, and I'll say it made a difference for sure, but I am ready to take it off because it definitely changes everything about your day-to-day, and I'm not enjoying that. So.
I have mixed feelings about the seasickness patch. While maybe it stopped me from continuing to make donations for my stomach to the sea after the first day, my mouth has tasted so bad from the medicine that I wanted to continue to be vomiting over the side of the boat. I wanted, the only thing it felt like it stopped me from feeling was the need to actually vomit. But other than that, I felt disgusting. I couldn't eat anything. I couldn't stand my own mouth. It's just been awful. I hate it.
And when it's hard to actually prepare food, it makes it even harder to eat it.
It doesn't even taste like food.
I know.
It's so gross. If you've ever had lemon, lime, Gatorade, you know, it's a pretty standard taste. It's pretty, I don't know, it's easy to deal with if you're not feeling so well and you need to get something down that has some electrolytes in it, maybe some sugar or something, so you're not just running on absolute empty for days. But the taste in my mouth made the Gatorade taste so foul that I couldn't even finish a cup of Gatorade without needing to think I need to go lay my head over the side of the boat again.
Definitely ready to be done with the patches.
Oh, I took mine off, so
Oh, okay. There you
I'm gonna go au naturel and get seasick the normal way.
There you go.
Whatever.
Situation report, we are now 26.4 miles away. We're going to be landing in the Abacos, and we've got like 5 hours left on our journey, I think is what it's estimating.
0 wind.
And we have 0 wind, completely 0 wind. The engine has now been running for over 24 hours, 25 hours I think at this point, and that's all we've been using is just the engine because there's no wind. We did have a nice squall just come through and dump a bunch of rainwater on the boat, so it's rinsed off a little bit of the salt, but there's still going to be a lot more work to get the rest of the salt off of it. It's pretty caked at this point. Kelly was saying that as she was going around, like any time that she would move, she could feel the salt grit and everything else just kind of cutting into her like knives, and it's pretty nasty. So.
It dries in a way that's sharp. I'm so surprised at how sharp salt can dry sometimes. It's like, what did I do? Get a splinter? No, it was salt. I don't know.
It's like sandpaper.
Sharp,
So we
sharp
got
sandpaper.
sharp sandpaper, exactly. So definitely ready for that, to do a little bit of rinse of that. Ready to actually be able to jump in the water and go swimming, because we've been sailing for 3 seasons on this boat at this point, and only like twice have we actually gotten in the water, because usually we're swimming near places that you don't want to swim in the water. So it's going to be nice to be able to drop the anchor, hop in the water, and then just go snorkel around, see some sea life. Super excited about that. Very excited to take this off, not have to wear it anymore. I'm sweating, I got pit stains. We're tethered to everything. It's not fun. And it's been that way since we started on Saturday, so 5 days at this point. Long journey, but all in all, we've made good time. We're getting very close. Things are shaping up. I'm excited to see land. Say a little land ho.
We did see butterflies. I don't know if we want to call them sea butterflies, but they look like regular old land butterflies that just came cruising by earlier. Probably because there's no wind and they can do whatever they want.
The other thing that changed a lot last night was that we actually had traffic. The entire time that we've been going along, we've not seen anything other than maybe one other boat that was like 30 miles away. But last night, I guess we kind of crossed through a big shipping area. So there was a bunch of shipping container vessels that were going through. And then we also had a boat that kind of came from our stern and then passed us on the starboard side. They were about 3/4 of a mile away is kind of the closest they got. And then once they got around front of us, they had AIS, so we could see them. And we only could ever see their red navigation light, which is their port side light. Once they got past us, they still only had the red navigation light on. So we didn't see a stern light or anything like that.
But
and
they
then
turned off their lights and turned off their AIS, and they were like supposedly a mile near us.
yeah, so and then Kelly was on watch, and she woke me up at one point because she was like, they just disappeared. Like, I can't see them anymore. They're not on AIS anymore. Like, what happened to them? And I'm like, I don't know. Just keep on trucking.
But
So.
they disappeared when they were less than 2 miles away from us. So it wasn't like they sped off into the distance. They were showing at like, I don't know, 1.33 miles away from us, which I should have been able to see at least some lights. And I couldn't see lights anymore. Their AIS symbol completely gone. Everything. It was just so weird. And it's also like 4 o'clock in the morning and it's misty out. I'm like, ugh. So I'm just staring and staring and staring, looking for any type of shape, because they also didn't have listed on their AIS profile what type of ship they were. So I didn't know if I was looking for like a 50-foot sailboat or powerboat or like some tiny little dinky boat that you take out to go fishing. So I'm just looking everywhere for like some little semblance of something. It's stressful.
So she had that to deal with on her watch. I just ignored him the whole time. Actually, no, whenever I saw him, I was tracking him from behind us as he moved up to our starboard side. And right whenever he was perfectly abeam with us, I looked over and glanced over, and all of a sudden I see a red flare going up from the boat. And I'm like, oh my God, they're like in an emergency type of thing. We're going to have to go over there and rescue them. And then I keep watching the flare, and it just keeps on going. Usually flares are a parachute type, so they arch and then they eventually start to come down. But this one just kept on going. And I realized I probably saw a SpaceX launch from Port Canaveral over there, which was pretty awesome. And it was like, it was not that far off. Like, it was pretty bright, and you could definitely tell what was going on. It was pretty exciting. So I'm gonna look whenever we have cell service to see if there was a SpaceX launch last night at like 2 a.m. because that's, I think, whenever I saw it. But got to see that, and yeah, that's about it. We're shaping up. We're ready to see land. Kelly's ready to stretch her legs.
I'm ready to walk. I'm ready to do anything but stare at this horizon. I downloaded all sorts of stuff to do for the last 5 days since we're gonna be away from cell service and internet, but all I could do was stare at the horizon. And even the horizon was hard to stare at because I felt so sick, but if I did anything else, like think or talk or move, I got sick. So I just had to like sit here for 5 days. And then like yesterday I started to sort of be able to listen to at least a podcast for a little bit, and then I get sick.
How are you feeling about your scopolamine patch?
I hate the scopolamine patch. I do wonder if it made me worse because I took it off yesterday, and you're supposed to get all these symptoms that are the same as seasickness when you withdraw from it, and I haven't. So I feel like that may have made me worse. I don't know. I can't go back and change it, but the sea state was pretty bad, so maybe it did help me a tiny bit, but I was still hanging over the side of the boat like the whole first day and second day. I don't know. I'm ready to walk or land.
We'll be there soon. You made it.
I did. I saw you up here. I was like, oh, it looks pretty up there. And then I remembered it's really calm out and not crashing, shooting waves.
Yeah, this is definitely the best day to be up here so far.
Nothing like the first day you had to come up here.
I wish I got that on film.
I don't think you could have managed staying on the boat and filming it. And I couldn't film it because I was just trying not to like turn myself inside out.
I would assume so.
Okay. I'm not tall enough. There, center leg.
Kelly wanted me to mention that whenever we were starting this journey out on Saturday and we first started getting out past the inlet and into the open ocean, it was nasty, absolutely terrible. Just crashing waves all over the place coming from every different direction. And then it just really kind of settled in on her that it was seasickness was just taking her over. Like she just was falling into this pit of seasickness and misery, and you know, it was basically 4 hours of sitting there watching her get worse and worse and worse. And so as we were leaving, this whole trip has always been, we're only gonna go until you're comfortable. And I'm not gonna try to push it beyond that because of the fact that this is not like a pride thing for me. This is just wanting to get out there and see the world. And so I'm more than happy to do anything. I'll jump into an Atlantic crossing right now and not even care, it doesn't matter. But I know she's a little bit more apprehensive because she's never done it before. There's a seabird.
I can't see the sun.
I heard a seabird somewhere. And so I basically wanted to make sure that she's always comfortable. So as we're going out there, I just kept on asking her, are you sure you want to do this? And kept giving her opportunities to go back, and we could take the ICW down to the Bahamas.
And he started doing this like 30 minutes in, not 4 hours.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Because I could see how bad it was, and I knew it was going to be pretty rough because we had the Gulf Stream to get to, the Gulf Stream to get across, everything else, so I just knew it wasn't going to be great.
And this guy right here was also getting queasy, and he's the guy that goes upside down in the boat and works on stuff in like what would make me die.
Yeah.
And anyone else probably die. So the fact that he got queasy, it was horrible.
Yeah, so I did make sure just to check with her every once in a while, and she every time was like, no, I mean, let's just go ahead and do it. I've always been preparing for this. Let's just see what it's like and just go ahead and do it. I think it's worthwhile. I'm glad that we did. I think we need to give a couple days to let it settle in with Kelly before she says and weighs in on it.
Well, you even asked me once we got to the Gulf Stream. It wasn't like we were near, it was like a full day sail back. Do you want to turn around? Yeah. No.
We were still on that point where the winds would have been okay for us to get back. I knew that there was going to be a point of no return where if we got out there and decided to go back, it was not going to be easy because the winds were coming from the absolute wrong direction.
I was aware of that too.
Yeah. But
and who knows when it would have been good again, or if I may have just been like, I'm never going out again. It was so bad.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. So.
I'm used to being seasick. I get seasick all the time. Like it's just what I grin and bear through and deal with. But that was a whole nother level. Ugh.
Yeah, I feel bad for her, but it's empowering to be out here this far away. I think we got up to about 250 miles offshore. That was the furthest we were from anything at all. and it's neat to be out here just by yourself, seeing nothing but blue ocean all the way around you and clouds in the skies, and
The stars in the Milky Way.
the stars are unbelievable at night. We had a bunch of moon. We had about a half moon basically these past few days, so it really kind of polluted out the stars to an extent, but they were still spectacular. Absolutely beautiful. So I love it out here. It's just,
I ended up liking the moon, even though I was sad about it, because like stars were like the main thing I wanted to see. I was like, I want to get out there. I want to see some like really good stars away from the light. And I was kind of sad about the moon, but it was really good that it did show up because I needed the horizon line all night long.
yep, it's true. So I'm glad we're out here. I'm ready to be at shore, but it's been a good trip.
I'm ready to walk, skip, jump, anything. Just move. I've been sitting in that same spot. This is like the only different spot I've sat in the first time
It's true.
in 5 days.
It's true.
So, woo! Cargo ship.
Yep. We got a friend.
We do. Hopefully there's not like a ton of them encircling us like last night. We can't even change direction because there's a cargo ship in every direction. So,
What do you see?
land ho! It's like itty bitty 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 bitty. Took us a moment. I did. It took us a minute to double check that it was in fact land and not just a wave again. But yep, we finally have land visible after this is the 5th day at this, so I don't know, an entire work week. So, yay! But it's still hours away. How much longer?
9 miles until we're on shore. So
9 miles, but how many hours?
it's be an hour and a half.
Hour and a half. It's not as fast as a car or a bicycle or anything. So,
About a good walking pace.
yeah. Oh, good. A good walking pace. I guess it's faster than me on the stand-up paddleboard. Or you, probably. So, I can't wait. I'm gonna step on land, but not really because only George can leave the boat when we get there to check us into the country. So I have to sit on the boat and I'm not allowed to leave until he checks us in. I could also check us in, I guess, but I don't know. Only one person is allowed off the boat until you're official. And I really hope they're quick because I'm gonna be like drooling at the land, wanting to touch it and jump on it and skip on it. And I don't know, roll around on it like a puppy dog after a bath.
Have to see if we can remember how to walk.
What?
Have to see if we can remember how to walk.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. So I have been seasick this whole time, and I'm like, okay, yay, one day we're gonna be at land. And then I remembered I also, in the past, have gotten land sick for like days at a time, just from doing like a race on the Baltimore Harbor for a couple hours. So I'm pretty nervous if I'm gonna then end up like spinning and just as sick as I was the first day as soon as I switch back to land. But we shall find out, and I just gotta get on land to find out. But maybe if we keep walking, I won't notice I'm spinning. Ugh.
It is crazy exciting that we finally see land. We've been at sea, as she said, for 5 days, so it's nice that this passage is coming to an end. And we've been sitting here for like the past 2 hours just staring at the horizon. Is that land? Are we there yet? Is that it? Are we there yet? Is that it? No. Now it's finally land. Usually, like, and it's funny because as you kind of get into a passage, you look off into the distance and waves really start to look like they're actually land. So you start to think that you're seeing things. One of the many hallucinations you get out at sea. But yeah, this was actually land. We had to watch and see the waves disappear and then come back and disappear, and those little spots stayed around. That means it's land. We're there.